Hello and good evening. I'm Josh. Welcome to the Nightly from Hatch, where your late night thoughts go to rest. I occasionally find myself in the situation where people ask what my hobbies are, and I don't know. I know I do things all the time, and some of it's work and some of it's fun, but I don't think some of the stuff I do qualifies as a hobby. Like watching a basketball game and getting all worked up and yelling at the screen. I don't think that counts as a hobby because I'm not doing anything. The closest I have is, and we've talked about this a lot on the show, is my wife and I and friends will do a lot of karaoke, which I think counts as a hobby. And I have maybe a C plus singing voice, and it's enough to do in front of friends, but not good enough that I would subject strangers to my singing. And then I love a crossword puzzle, but I'm not a completist. So if I'm doing a weekend crossword puzzle from the newspaper and I get it 80% done, or I just have to drop it before I'm finished, that's fine with me. Today on the show, we have somebody who is really passionate about her hobby, and I'm really excited to talk to her about it. And maybe I'll even learn something from her about how to invest time and energy into something without freaking out about it being perfect or having a defined outcome for what I want from it. If you listening tonight want to come on the show ever and talk about something that's on your mind, something you recently got into and can't stop thinking about, or something you do to take your mind off of the world, I want to hear about it. Email us or send a voice memo to thenightly@hatch.co, or text or leave a voicemail at 904-NIGHTLY. That's 904-644-4859. And tonight we're going to hear from Abby about her hobby, and she's calling in right now. So I can't wait to chat with her. Abby, thank you so much for joining me on the Nightly this evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Where are you calling in from?
Hudson Valley, New York.
Ooh, are you from there originally, or is this a relocation at some point?
I'm a college student, actually. So my family's from the
Cool.
Boston area, but I go to university out here. So
Oh, wonderful. And have you started for the year? You've started up for the year already?
not quite yet, but we have that going on next week. So
Awesome. Well, good luck with this upcoming year.
thank you. It's going into my senior year. So
Oh my gosh, excellent. Well, congratulations and have a great senior year. That's huge.
thank you.
What is on your mind tonight? What have you called in to chat about?
I would love to chat about my knitting projects, if that's all right.
Yeah, I want to hear about them. What are your knitting projects?
Okay, so I have two that I'm actively working on right now. So one of them is this sweater. It's very beginner friendly. It's called the Step by Step sweater by Florence Miller. And
Okay.
I'm using this really pretty cotton yarn. So it's a lightweight, summer to fall transition project. And then I'm
Cool.
actually allergic to wool, which is very unfortunate. So I started on this hat. It's baby alpaca yarn, which is surprisingly soft. And I'm starting on a hat with that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So you said that the sweater had not just a name for the pattern, but a known author. Is that true of a lot of knitting projects?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's this website, it's called Ravelry. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
It's big in the fiber arts world, but people post
Okay.
patterns. A lot of them you will have to pay money for, but this one is free, and there's also a YouTube tutorial that goes along with it. So it's a very nice mindless project and very beginner friendly. If you were to ever, I don't know if you would ever knit, but I would recommend it.
What about it? Did it take you time to get to the point where you can work on this mindlessly, or was it something that you picked up very quickly? Because if it, to me, knitting this, I know myself and my lack of coordination, it would take all my attention. It would be like I was doing brain surgery.
Yeah, I mean, I've been knitting for a little while. Like when you first do it, it's just getting used to the motion. Mostly just purl and knit stitches. But then
Hmm.
when it comes to like the construction of a garment, some of them are a little bit more straightforward, like this one where it's called like top down. You like start at the collar and then you do the raglan, which is like the chest area, and then you split off the
Hmm.
body and then the arms. But some of the patterns, like if you've seen like with cables or like more texture to
Yeah.
them or any more intricate color work, like if they have like a design on it, you have to look at these
Hmm.
charts and you have to read through them and like very much be mindful of like counting like, okay, I did three of these, now I have to do like four of these, or whereas this like you kind of
Yeah.
just work in the round, and once you get the hang of the stitches, it's just you just kind of go through the motions.
You're just, yeah, just kind of the muscle memory of doing them in the
Hmm.
same color or with the same uh amount,
Yep.
the same kind of yarn
Yeah.
all throughout. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, eh, that's amazing. What are some other things you've knitted in the past?
Well, so this is my third sweater, but the first the first one's not wearable. Like I messed it up pretty bad.
What happened to it?
So that one, the pattern was like you would kind of knit up these panels and then sew it up. So like you have a front and a back and the sleeves, and then you sew it up.
Okay.
And I guess like I messed up my measurements or something. And so the neckline is just too tight. It's like if a boat neck was too tight. Um,
Okay.
and then the second sweater I did, I started out with this nice wool yarn, and that's how I figured out I was allergic to wool. Um,
You didn't know until you were knitting.
yeah, so like that was a real shame because it was like I had gotten like decently far into the sweater before like I started having issues. So it's a shame too. They have a lot of nice stuff. I don't know if you've heard of the Sheep and Wool Festival.
No, where's that?
That's in Rhinebeck. It's every year in the
Okay.
fall,
Oh,
and like
in New
they have
York.
like sheep shearing contests and all kinds of like
Cool.
small batch like local artists. It's very fun. I would definitely recommend it if you're ever, you know,
Fun.
around. But it's sheep and wool, so it's mostly wool.
Right, right, right. So you can't you have exempted yourself from the sheep
Yeah,
sharing contest.
yeah, it's a shame.
How did you get into the textile game?
Oh, so this is kind of a funny story, actually. It started, my family moved during COVID when I was in high school.
Hmm.
And I was like desperate to make friends, obviously, because it was kind of hard to meet people. And this girl in one of
Yeah.
my classes started up a crochet club and invited me. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And so I learned how to crochet there. And then,
Okay.
crochet is great. You can make a lot of things out of it, but it doesn't make the best clothing. And
Hmm.
so that's kind of when I picked up knitting, and I kind of was on a hiatus for a little bit. But I do research on top of being a student. I do research work in the space of digital well-being. And when you work in that
Okay.
area, you kind of realize pretty quickly when your digital habits aren't the best. And so I was like, okay, I really want to be like more mindful about how I'm spending my free time. And this is just something I, picked back up.
So what were the habits that you were trying to break, and then how did the knitting help?
Oh, well, I was a bit of a doom scroller. I still am a little bit, but I'm
Hmm.
better. I
Sure.
think a lot of it's not necessarily about the time online as much as it is like whether you're being conscious about like what you're doing on there and how it's making you feel and like checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
So I still am online, but I look up. There's a lot of people on. They call it like KnitTok. There's like a whole space of knitters.
Is that knitting TikTok?
Yeah, yeah. So they have like they call it like WIP Wednesdays. WIP is work in progress. So like people will give like an update every Wednesday on like what they're working on, or I just think it's nice
Cool.
to like you spend so much time doing things and you don't realize how much time you spend. But when you're doing something like knitting, you're like, oh yeah, like I have an entire sweater to show for the like number of
Hmm.
hours I worked on this, like to have a tangible outcome.
Cool.
I don't know if you like baking, but I kind of have the same thing. Do you bake?
Yeah, I do bake a little bit, and I would say I'm much more of a baker than a knitter personally. But yeah, I feel the same way about baking in that it's like it's something you do with your hands. You come away with something that is like worthwhile and
Hmm.
meaningful and is something that's either like, oh, this is for me or this could be a gift. And
Exactly.
and like yeah, and it just like feels very satisfying to like use hobby time to like make something, or use like
Mm-hmm.
leisure time to make something that is like pleasurable to consume.
100%, 100%. I do bake sourdough, so
Ooh, okay. So you really got into the pandemic era kind of crafting and working with your hands hobbies.
yeah. Well, I didn't really get into it during the pandemic. It was more so when I was like, okay, like let me. I mean, I'm a student. I work. I have a dog. Like I'm very busy, and so I was like, I need like nice, relaxing things to do in my free time. And I found
Yeah.
that like some of these things are just they're very calming.
Yeah. How how long does it take? You mentioned like hours of work. To how long does it take to make the kind of sweater that you're working on now that's like a pretty straightforward pattern?
Well, it depends on the yarn you're using, how thick it is, and also like certain people will knit faster than other people. For me,
Hmm.
I'm working on the second sleeve and then I'll be done. And I've probably put at least a good 80 hours into this. So it's a labor
Wow.
of love. It's also the other thing you wouldn't think is it's kind of expensive to knit, like at least if you get nice
Right.
yarn. But I figure like, okay, if I spend $150, but it takes me 100 hours to make this, it's like $1.50 per hour. And like I enjoy doing it. So I'm like, that's
Sure.
like a pretty good return on investment. But if you want like a cheap sweater, like you're better off just buying something online. It's not very economical in that way.
But that's such a nice way to think about it, right? Because it's not like you're just paying $150 for the materials of a sweater and then like paying the time it takes, right? Like
Hmm.
investing that time. It's like, no, you're paying to finance this activity that you get a lot of pleasure
Hmm.
from. And so like
Exactly.
that's much cheaper than whatever you spend to like go bowling for an hour, or like, go out on the town and you're buying food and beverage and stuff.
Like $1.50 an hour for entertainment is pretty good, I think. Like that's like a movie.
It's way better than a movie.
Yeah. Wait, so I didn't realize you were a baker.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I
What
have
kind
a
of
really
stuff?
great family recipe for brownies from scratch that are like kind
Mm.
of a go-to party trick. And I have like a few things that I can do reliably. I'll do like a key lime pie with a graham cracker crust. That's pretty easy. And the results are like delightful. Everybody likes a homemade key lime pie. And then I'll occasionally experiment if I see a recipe that looks really good. But I don't have a super well stocked kitchen in terms of like, oh, this cheesecake recipe needs a spring pan, so I guess we won't be making it.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I'm a college student, so I like my big thing. I got a KitchenAid for the holidays, a KitchenAid mixer, and I
Hmm.
was like, this is the best thing I've ever gotten in my life.
What have you used it for so far?
Well, I mean, like the typical baking, like cookies, cakes, but I really like it actually
Hmm.
for making bread because it has this like dough attachment, and then you don't have to knead the bread. Like you could just leave it on for like 7 minutes. Because kneading sometimes like it sounds crazy, but it's kind of an arm workout, and some recipes
No,
want you to
totally.
knead for a really long time. I don't know if you do bread, but it's a labor.
I haven't done bread. When I was a kid, my parents had a bread maker phase where they got one of those like it sits on the counter and you mix all the stuff and then you put it in the bread maker.
Oh, and it like bakes it, right?
Yeah, it bakes it in the little like countertop oven. And I will tell you, it was fun that we had homemade bread. It did not taste better than store made bread.
Yeah, I've never used one of those machines, but I could see that being not, you know.
It felt like an extremely 90s kind of way
Yeah.
to do that, because I feel like now people that make bread, they're doing it by hand from scratch. If you're automating any part of it, like you said, it's the kneading function and the mixing, and you're not just kind of like stirring stuff in a bowl and then outsourcing it to a specialized machine.
I know. I do think like a lot of times with like the knitting or the baking or whatever, like people are a little bit of purists where it's like, oh, if you use like any sort of assistance in any place, like it's not really homemade. And it's like, I don't know. I think like the KitchenAid mixer, like these stand mixers, they don't like automate in the same way people, I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
it's like a traditional thing. But Like, did you guys harvest the grain for your bread, and did you milk the cows
Totally
for the
right.
butter? And
You're not going out in the field with and reaping and
yeah,
separating wheat from chaff. It's like, right. At some point you have to decide what your own personal cutoff is for like authenticity. And I think unless you're entering a competition with rules,
yeah.
why not just do it the way that makes you feel happy and satisfied?
There are people though in the knitting world. It is pretty cool that like will like they either like have their own farm, or there's this woman, I think she's on Instagram, and she like is harvesting flax and then like making it into a fiber and sewing a dress, and it's like, wow, that's like real commitment.
Yeah, that's really cool to see, but I don't think that everyone has to be operating on
No.
that level for it to be worthwhile for them. Because it's like, again, like you said, this is for you. This is for you to feel like you have a soothing hobby or a soothing activity where you feel like you come away at the end of 80 hours with something that's like special and meaningful to you.
Mhm.
And so it's not like, oh, you didn't harvest the cotton yourself or you didn't shear the sheep yourself. And it's like, that's barely a sweater. That might as well be
Yeah.
a garbage bag. Totally. Are there any projects like in the long term you would like to attempt, whether it's baking or knitting?
Ooh, that's a good question. In terms of baking, I've always wanted to make, gosh, I always forget what some people say macaron, some people say macaroon, but like, you know what I'm talking about, the little cookies.
The like sandwichy ones?
Yeah. I have a friend who took like a baking class and learned how to make those. So I'm trying to get her to teach me
Cool.
how to do it because it looks very
Nice.
complicated. Um, and then in terms of the knitting, there's like just these complex patterns that I look at and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And then it's like the instructions look really complicated. And I'm like, maybe like the next time.
Mhm. Well, it also seems like the reasons that you got into knitting are not necessarily compatible with like what it takes to make a super intricate pattern, right? Where you're like, I want to
Hmm.
do something meditative that like relaxes my mind and lets me get into a flow state. And it seems like it takes a different level of focus to go like, okay, now we're doing this pattern that's like a spiral and every part of the spiral is a different color. And you're like, well, now I have to lock in a way that is no longer relaxing.
Exactly. Although I will say there's this one pattern I'm like, one day I will get to it. It's did you watch the Gilmore Girls?
I have watched some of the Gilmore Girls.
There's like this white cable knit sweater that Rory Gilmore wears, and like it's
Hmm.
so pretty. And there's a pattern online, and I've been like eyeing it, but I haven't found the right time. But that is definitely on my like one day will knit is the Rory Gilmore sweater.
The white sweater is the white whale.
Hmm. I just feel like in general, like I love that show. We're like getting finally into like I love fall, and we're like starting to
Yeah,
get to fall. You know, cozy season.
it's such a cozy show with like be like taking place at like the inn that Lorelai runs, right? And like
Hmm.
and so I feel like it's always autumn in Stars Hollow, unless I guess they
Right.
get a little winter too. They're
Well,
always like it's always apple cider and sleds.
exactly. Exactly. There's that, and then I don't know if this is like very niche, but there's this Hallmark show called Good Witch.
I don't know it. What's it all about?
It's like you know how Hallmark shows are, where it's just like very like chill and like the plot
Hmm.
points are they're not very extreme. But it's somehow like always fall there. It's the same thing like with the Gilmore Girls.
Yep, totally. Um, how long did it take you to go from like I want to explore this to I've made a sweater even if the boat neck is too narrow?
That's a good question. I think it's one of those things like at the beginning it's it's very effortful and it's like not as
Hmm.
fun, but as soon as you start getting into the like flow state like you were saying, it just
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's just you kind of I don't want to say addicted because that's not quite right, but you kind of get really into it and it's like, oh, I'm relaxing. Like it would be nice if I had my knitting needles with me in my project.
Oh, what a good feeling. That sounds
Yeah,
great. And then
I love
this
it.
new sweater that you're working on, you've got the last sleeve left. Who is this for? Is this for yourself or is it a gift?
This one's for my mom. She's also has a wool allergy, so but yeah, the colors I guess you can't see, but it's this like multicolor yarn. It kind of looks like, I think the colors remind me of like a Monet painting.
Cool.
But yeah, it's for my mom.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I hope she loves it. It sounds like you've really invested a lot of time and energy in it and that you're like getting better all the time. So this is such a thoughtful, beautiful gift.
Yeah.
Well, Abbie, thank you so much for joining me on the Night Late tonight. I loved hearing about your knitting projects and journey. Before we say goodnight, is there anyone else out there in the world that you would like to wish a good night to?
Oh my gosh. Definitely my friends and family, and to all the knitters
Cool.
out there. Special good night.
Good night to all the knitters out there. Thank you so much for joining me. This was such a wonderful conversation. And I hope you are well relaxed from all your knitting and that you get a great night's sleep.
Thank you. You too.
Good night, Abbie.
Good night.
That was really fun. I'm like so clunky and clumsy with textile stuff, and so I really love and admire when I hear people talk about like doing a craft as a soothing activity, because it would really stress me out. My brain would go to DEFCON 1 if I had to maneuver those needles and thread across, or yarn I guess, across each other. I would like to wish a good night to anyone out there who is doing a hobby just for hobby's sake, whether you're good at it or bad at it, or you don't know or care whether you're good or bad. I think that's like a really fun quality, and we're kind of losing it in the need for everything to become a side hustle. So amateurs out there, good night. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night, everyone.